Life's funny, you know? One day you're folding sweaters in a high-end boutique, dreaming of big things, and the next, you're face to face with destiny. Or at least, that's how it felt when Ethan walked in. But let me back up a bit. My name's Ava, and fashion's my game. Not the flashy, break-the-bank kind, but the smart, stylish kind that says, "Yeah, I know I look good." The boutique was my playground, my school, and sometimes, it felt like my whole world. I could match a vintage belt with a modern dress and make it look like they were always meant to be together. My dream? To turn this knack into a career as an image stylist. Ethan, was it? I asked, eyeing the guy browsing through our new collection. He had that artsy vibe, camera hanging around his neck, like he saw the world in snapshots. "Yeah, I'm here for a shoot. Need something that screams urban chic but isn't trying too hard," he said, scanning the racks. I laughed. "You're in luck. Urban chic's my middle name." "Well, not really, but you get the point." We chatted as I pulled out pieces, mixing patterns and textures like a DJ mixes tracks. He was easy to talk to, and for a guy who spent his days looking through a lens, he had a pretty sharp eye for fashion. "You've got a real talent," Ethan said, holding up a leather jacket I'd paired with a soft, floral dress. "Ever think of doing this professionally?" "All the time," I admitted. "But dreams and rent don't always align, you know?" He nodded. "Tell me about it." "I was shooting weddings before I could land anything bigger." "But you've got to chase what you love." Our banter was cut short by a shrill voice echoing through the store. "Ava, darling, where are those scarves I asked about?" That was my cue. Mrs. H, the store owner, didn't do patience. "On it," I called back, giving Ethan an apologetic smile. "Duty calls." He handed me his card. "Let's talk. Maybe there's something we can collaborate on." "Maybe," I said, pocketing the card. I didn't hold my breath. People threw around "let's collaborate" like spare change, but nothing ever came of it. The rest of the day was a blur of customers, folding clothes, and Mrs. H's demands. But as I locked up the store, Ethan's card burned a hole in my pocket. What if? I thought. Nah, better not get my hopes up. "Hey, Ava." It was Ethan, leaning against the wall outside. "Grab coffee with me? I've got an idea I want to run by you." Coffee turned into dinner, and dinner turned into late-night talks about everything and nothing. Ethan's world of photography was as colorful and chaotic as mine in fashion. And the more we talked, the more it felt like our paths were meant to cross. Ethan's idea of meeting the family came out of nowhere. One minute we were chilling on his couch, flipping through old photo albums, and the next, he's all, "You should come to dinner with my folks this weekend." "Are you for real?" I dropped the album, staring at him like he'd just sprouted a second head. "Ethan, babe, we've been dating what, a couple of months? Isn't it a bit early for the whole meet the family circus?" He just grinned, that cocky smile that always made me roll my eyes and laugh at the same time. "They're gonna love you, Ava. And I want my worlds to collide, you know? You, them, all of it together." I could have said no. Could have told him I wasn't ready to jump into that pool just yet. But looking at him, all excited and hopeful, what could I do? I caved. "Fine, but if your sister starts measuring me for a wedding dress, I'm outta there." Ethan laughed. "Mia? Nah, she's more likely to sell you a knockoff and keep the change." Great. Just the endorsement I needed. Ethan wasn't kidding about his family living large. Their house was like something out of a magazine, all sleek lines and expensive tastes. I felt my thrift shop chic outfit shrinking in protest as we walked up to the door. His parents were the picture of upper-class warmth. His mom, Linda, enveloped me in a hug that was surprisingly genuine, while his dad, Mark, offered a firm handshake and a friendly nod. So far, so good. Then came Mia. She sauntered in like she owned the place, which, in a way, she probably did. "So, you're the girl who's been keeping my brother away from us," she said, eyeing me like I was a puzzle she couldn't quite solve. Dinner was a minefield. Every question Linda asked was laced with curiosity and a hint of judgment, while Mark was more interested in Ethan's work, occasionally throwing a question my way like an afterthought. Mia, though, was on a whole other level. "So, Ava, Ethan tells us you're into fashion. Planning to make a career out of selling clothes?" I bristled. "More than selling, actually. I'm looking into becoming an image stylist. There's art in creating an image, a persona. It's not just about the clothes." "Art, huh?" Mia smirked. "Sounds fanciful." And here I thought art was about expression, not dressing up mannequins. I could feel Ethan tensing beside me, but I laid a hand on his. "Everyone's got their medium, Mia. Some use canvas, others use a camera." I glanced at Ethan. "And some of us use fabric and texture. It's all expression in the end." The rest of the evening passed in a blur of forced politeness and subtle digs from Mia. By the time Ethan and I said our goodbyes, I was more than ready to escape into the night. Meeting Ethan's folks and getting to know his family was one thing, but dealing with his sister, Mia, was a whole other level of drama I hadn't signed up for. It all kicked off one afternoon at the boutique, right in the middle of a busy spell when Mia decided to grace us with her presence. She strutted in like she owned the place, her eyes scanning the store until they landed on me. "Hey, Ava, you're gonna hook me up with a discount, right? Family perks and all that," she said, smirking as she held up a dress from the new collection. I was already bracing for trouble. "Mia, you know I can't do that. This is the latest line. No discounts, not even for family." Her smirk dropped, replaced by a scowl. "What? Come on, don't be such a stick in the mud. I'm practically your sister." I shook my head, trying to keep my voice even. "Rules are rules, Mia. I can't just change them for you." That set her off. She threw the dress down and stormed out, muttering about how I'd regret this. I sighed, knowing this wasn't going to end here. Sure enough, Ethan gave me an earful later. "Ava, why couldn't you just give her the discount? She's my sister. We're supposed to look out for each other." I was fuming, but tried to keep cool. "Ethan, I'm not about to lose my job over a discount. She was asking for something I can't do. It's not about not wanting to help, it's about not being able to." He didn't get it, or maybe he didn't want to. Either way, things were tense for a while. Meanwhile, family dinners became a minefield. Mia never missed a chance to gloat about her new rich boyfriend and their upcoming wedding, laying it on thick about how amazing everything was going to be. Ethan ate it up, always encouraging her, while I just sat there, forcing a smile, feeling like I was outside looking in. "Don't miss this chance, Mia," Ethan would say, and all I could do was nod along, wondering when this charade would end. It was clear Mia enjoyed making me squirm, reveling in any chance to show me up in front of Ethan and his parents. And Ethan? Well, he was caught in the middle, always trying to smooth things over, but never quite seeing the whole picture. Despite the ups and downs, especially with Mia stirring the pot every chance she got, Ethan and I found our little slice of happiness. It was one of those lazy Sundays, the kind where the world seems to pause just for you, when Ethan decided to flip our world upside down, in the best way possible. We were sprawled on the couch, a marathon of some show we weren't really watching playing in the background. I was mid-yawn when Ethan muted the TV and turned to me with this look. You know, the kind that says something big is coming, but you're not quite sure if you're ready for it. "Ava, we need to talk," he said, suddenly serious. I sat up straight, heart racing. "What's up? Everything okay?" He took a deep breath, running his hands through his hair. "Yeah, no, everything's fine. Better than fine, actually. I've been thinking." Here it comes, I thought. He's had enough. Mia finally got to him. "I don't want to wait any longer, Ava. I want us to start planning our future. Together." I blinked, processing. "What do you mean?" He got off the couch, knelt down on one knee, and suddenly, it clicked. "Ava, will you marry me?" My heart stopped, then raced. "Are you serious? Right now? You're asking me now?" "Yeah, why not?" He grinned, that confident, slightly cocky grin that drove me wild. I love you, Ava. I want to spend my life with you, drama and all. So, what do you say? I looked at him, kneeling there, so sure of himself, of us. And despite the voice in my head screaming about Mia and all the complications, I knew my answer. Yes, I said, the word barely a whisper. Yes, I'll marry you. Ethan's face lit up, and he swept me into his arms, spinning me around. That's my girl. But then, reality crept in, as it always does. Ethan, you do realize what you're signing up for, right? Your sister, my job, us, it's not going to be easy. He set me down, his hands on my shoulders, looking me straight in the eye. Ava, I don't care about any of that. We'll figure it out, together. Mia will come around, and if she doesn't, well, that's on her. You and me, we're a team now. His words were like a balm, soothing the worry that had taken root in my chest. A team, huh? I like the sound of that. Yeah, Team Ava and Ethan against the world. We laughed, the tension melting away, replaced by a sense of rightness, of belonging. In that moment, it didn't matter what Mia thought or what anyone else said. We were in this together, for better or worse. Wedding prep was in full swing, and let me tell you, it was turning into my full-time gig. I was all over it, from the get-go. Designing the whole shebang was my jam. I dreamt up this vibe for the day that was kinda out there, elegant, but with a twist. Ordered this bomb dress with a massive bow, something that screamed me. The girls were getting outfitted in styles I handpicked, and for everyone else coming, I had this vision that just tied everything together. I dove headfirst into planning the decor. We're talking custom-designed invitations, guest gifts that weren't your run-of-the-mill junk, and photo zones that'd make your Insta pop. The arch, the tables, chairs, you name it, everything had to be on point, matching the vibe. I was buzzing, imagining the looks on everyone's faces when they saw the setup. Linda, my future mother-in-law, was on this journey with me. We hit the shops like a storm on the weekends, hunting for those perfect little touches. Over coffee, she'd spill how impressed she was with my dedication. You're really going all out, aren't you? Mia's not even half as involved with her plans, she'd say, shaking her head. One day, Linda drops this on me, asking if I could give Mia a hand with her wedding stuff. Honestly, I wasn't keen, but Linda looked so hopeful. So, I said, sure, I'll talk to her. Mia, though, she wasn't having any of it. I don't need your help, thanks, she snapped, all high and mighty. I just shrugged it off, thinking, fine by me. Less drama. The closer we got to the wedding, the more real it all felt. Every piece of the puzzle was falling into place, and I couldn't wait to see it come to life. Ethan was my rock through it all, always there with a word of encouragement or a helping hand. Babe, this is gonna be epic. Can't believe you pulled all this together, he'd say, eyes wide as he looked over the plans. Yeah, well, it's gotta be perfect, right? For us, I'd respond, feeling that mix of nerves and excitement bubbling up inside. We'd spend nights going over every little detail, making sure nothing was missed. It was exhausting, but in the best kind of way. The thought of walking down an aisle that looked exactly as I pictured it in my head, towards Ethan, made all the late nights worth it. Mia's wedding took place 2 months earlier. Ethan and I were kindly invited to the ceremony, and what I saw struck me to the heart. Walking into that wedding was like stepping into a twisted version of my own dream. There it was, all laid out before me, every little detail I'd painstakingly chosen for my own wedding. My designs, my ideas, right down to the flowers on the tables, were all there. It was like I'd been robbed, but instead of missing jewels, it was my dreams that were taken. I nudged Ethan, disbelief painting my voice. Can you believe this? It's our wedding. She's taken everything. Ethan glanced around, his discomfort obvious. Babe, it's fine. Let's not make a scene. It's her day. Her day? I couldn't keep the incredulity out of my voice. It's supposed to be our day. She's wearing my dress, Ethan. And that's my bouquet in her hands. As Mia made her grand entrance, looking like a carbon copy of what I'd imagined for myself, the sting of betrayal bit deep. The guests oohed and awed, snapping pictures of the decor I'd poured my heart into. Their joy was a knife in my gut. I turned to Ethan, desperation clear in my plea. "She's stolen our wedding. How can you be okay with this?" Ethan, always the peacemaker, just sighed, his gaze fixed on anywhere but me. "Don't do this now. It's Mia's wedding. Don't ruin it." Ruin it? The irony was thick enough to choke on. I was the victim here, yet somehow, I was being asked to play nice, to smile and nod while Mia paraded around in my dream. The urge to flee, to run from this mockery of my own plans, was overwhelming. But as I stood there, surrounded by stolen dreams, a fire lit within me. No, I wouldn't run. This wasn't just about centerpieces and dresses, it was about respect, about the sanctity of my ideas. "Ethan," I said, my voice low but firm, "this isn't right. You know it. I need to know how she got her hands on my plans." He looked at me then, and I could see the worry in his eyes. But before he could respond, Mia was upon us, beaming in her ill-gotten gown. "Isn't it just perfect?" she gushed, oblivious or indifferent to the turmoil she'd caused. I forced a smile, my mind racing. "It's something, all right. Tell me, Mia, where'd you get the inspiration?" Her laughter tinkled, fake as the facade we were all maintaining. "Oh, you know, here and there. A girl has her sources." After these words, she importantly walked away from me to the guests. Sources. The word echoed mockingly in my head. My sources, my plans, my wedding. Ethan tried to steer the conversation elsewhere, but I was done. Done playing the understanding fiance, done watching my wedding play out in front of me like some cruel joke. I made my way to Linda, who stood next to Mia, soaking in the praises showered upon the stolen decor by oblivious guests. 6 months of planning, Mia boasted, and Linda nodded along, pride written all over her face. Fueled by a mix of hurt and determination, I confronted them. "Who came up with this? Who's the mastermind behind the wedding design?" My voice carried over the murmurs, attracting curious glances. Mia's confident smirk faltered under my gaze. The guests, sensing the tension, fell into an uneasy silence. Linda, caught off guard, turned to me. "Is everything all right, dear?" Before I could reply, Ethan was at my side, his hand on my arm, attempting to lead me away. "Let's not do this here. It's Mia's day." He repeated it in a whisper, a plea in his voice. I yanked my arm away, my voice rising, despite my best efforts to stay calm. "Why, Ethan? Why did Mia steal my wedding plans? How did she even get my dress?" Mia's eyes darted to Ethan, her facade of innocence crumbling. Ethan, with a sigh of resignation, faced me. "Look, our wedding was still a way off. I thought, Mia could use your ideas. And the dress, it saved money." I stared at him, my mind struggling to process his words. "You gave her my dress? My ideas? And you think it's okay because what? It saves a few bucks?" The justification hung heavy in the air, tainted with betrayal. Ethan, faltering under my gaze, added, "We can always push our wedding back, let people forget about the design. I'd do anything for my sister." Mia, emboldened by Ethan's support, couldn't resist a dig. "I just had to have that dress. It was too beautiful to pass up. And now you can say you're following in my footsteps." That was the last straw. My vision blurred with tears of frustration and heartache. I faced Ethan, the guests, the entire room. "I can't do this. I won't marry someone who puts his sister's whims over our plans, our future." Ethan reached for me, but I stepped back, my decision clear. "No, Ethan. This isn't about a dress or decorations. It's about respect, trust. And it's clear I can't trust you to stand by me." Linda, my almost mother-in-law, surprisingly took my side in the chaos. "Ava's right," she said, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. "This isn't how we raised our kids. To steal and lie. The folks on Mia's would-be husband's side looked like they'd swallowed sour grapes. Starting a life on a lie? That's no foundation for a marriage, they muttered, disappointment etched deep in their faces. Then, the would-be groom, a guy I barely knew beyond polite hellos, took the stage, literally. Grabbing the mic, he declared, "There won't be a wedding today. I can't marry someone who's okay with such deceit." His eyes met mine for a moment, and though they were filled with apology, I couldn't find it in me to feel sorry for Mia. Mia's reaction was something out of a bad soap opera. Tears, screams, and then, as if to punctuate her outrage, she threw her bouquet to the ground and started stomping on it. A part of me wanted to laugh at the absurdity of it all, but the sadness in Linda's eyes stopped me. Ethan, my now ex-fiance, seemed more concerned about his sister's theatrics than the mess he'd helped create. "Look what you've done, Ava. You're ruining everything," he accused, his words aimed at me like darts. His parents, however, weren't on the same page. "We're ashamed," they said, their disappointment directed at Ethan and Mia. "Ashamed to have raised children who think this is okay." Walking away from that mess, I felt a mixture of relief and sorrow. Relief that I'd dodged a lifetime of being second to Mia's whims, and sorrow for what could have been if Ethan had been the partner I thought he was. After the storm comes the calm, they say. And in my case, after a hurricane of emotions and a tornado of drama, I finally found my peace. It wasn't overnight, mind you. Took a good chunk of soul-searching and a whole lot of me time. But I got there. One afternoon, sitting in the quiet of my living room, surrounded by sketches and fabric swatches, I realized I was finally doing what I loved again. Designing, creating, dreaming. Only this time, it was for me. My phone rang, breaking the silence. It was Jenna, my best friend, her timing impeccable as always. "Ava, girl, how's the world's next big wedding stylist doing today?" Her voice was a warm hug over the phone. I chuckled, shaking my head even though she couldn't see me. "Getting there, Jen. Actually working on a new project right now." "That's my girl. Hey, remember that boutique on 5th? The one we loved? They're looking for a designer to revamp their bridal section. Sounds right up your alley." My heart skipped a beat. "Really? That's huge, Jenna." "Yeah. You should totally go for it. Show them what you're made of." And I did. I poured my heart and soul into a portfolio, showcasing not just my skills, but my vision, my passion for fashion that told a story, that celebrated love in all its forms. Walking into that boutique, portfolio in hand, felt like stepping into a new chapter of my life. The interview was more of a conversation, a shared excitement for what weddings could be. And when they offered me the job on the spot, it was more than an opportunity. It was validation. A sign that I was exactly where I was supposed to be. But amid the new beginnings, there was one loose end that needed tying up. Ethan. The whole wedding debacle left me not just heartbroken, but financially in the lurch too. So, I decided it was time to square things away, for my peace of mind. I met Ethan at a quiet coffee shop, a neutral ground for what was sure to be an uncomfortable conversation. "Ava, he started, but I held up a hand, cutting him off. "Ethan, save it. I'm not here to rehash what happened. I'm here about the wedding, the one that didn't happen because of, well, you know why." He nodded, looking down at his coffee. "Yeah, I know. I want compensation, Ethan. For the moral damage and for the costs of the wedding that didn't happen because of your actions. It's only fair," I said, my voice steady, stronger than I felt. He sighed, rubbing his forehead. "Ava, I know I messed up. How much are we talking?" I slid a piece of paper across the table with the numbers written down. "It's not just about the money, Ethan. It's about acknowledging the impact of what you did." He looked at the figure, winced, but then nodded. "Okay. I'll make it right, Ava. I owe you that much." "And Ethan," I added, meeting his gaze squarely, "this is the last time we do this dance. From here on out, we go our separate ways. For good." Walking out of that coffee shop, I felt lighter. It wasn't just about the money, It was about standing up for myself, about drawing a line and demanding respect. It was the final step in a journey that took me from being the victim of my circumstances to the architect of my future.